Well, good morning, America, California, all the states, up to Hawaii, and all over the world. Vinney Chopra here, and Beau Eckstein, my brother, right here with Vinney and Beau Show. We come live to you at the new time starting 2023. It's going to be 9 a.m. Friday, every Friday. Again, thank you for joining, and we want to thank our guests today also.
And then eventually, Mike doesn't know much about Vinney probably, but Vinney's a big apartment guy. So Vinney will probably talk you into becoming a multifamily syndicator and raising hundreds of $1 million and buying apartment complexes. But welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, brother. All right. Good morning, America and the world. Vinney Chopra here. Brother Beau is here. Just walked 3.5 miles, ran to get back into my office. And it's so glad that, hey, it's a beautiful day. Every day is a gift to us. And what we do with that day is going to be really important in our life, our relationships, our business, and everything. Brother Beau, how are you? I know you lifted weight this morning, you were saying.
Yeah, so I joined a new gym. My wife and I was going to Lifetime Fitness, and it was like $300 a month. Not that I like the gym; it's super nice, and but I never use the amenities. And then they just opened an EOS gym down the street from my house, and it's like brand new. It's bigger, and it's just got better weights.
Yes.
And so they have all these really good machines. So I ended up joining it, and I like the gym better. And instead of spending $300 a month, it's only $40 a month for the two of us. So I mean, it's just like, okay, well, I'm not using the amenities. I just saved, a couple $100 a month.
Yeah.
And I can reinvest that money in somewhere else.
Yes.
And it's closer to my house. It's closer to my house. It makes more sense. So sorry, Lifetime, you're a great gym, but I joined EOS.
I love it. And it's closer to you. See, that's the beauty of it, because a lot of time people say they make resolutions. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then the time comes on the way. Life comes on the way. All excuses come on the way. I'm telling you, So that's all. I'm so proud of you. Then we asked Brother Brenden. Brenden, so good to have you. I know we have been knowing you for about 6 months, maybe more. Brother Beau, he introduced me to you, and what a quality guy you are and who you are. And this is one person, guys. Listen to this one. Brenden got on over 221 episodes just in last year, 2022, right? Is that right? Or the number is higher?
I think that's total episodes, Vinney, but in the last year was probably maybe 60 or 70. Okay. Oh, do you mean podcast interviews? Or
yeah.
Oh, podcast interviews? Yeah. We did probably 200-300, yeah.
Oh my gosh, look at that. I mean, if you guys would like to start your podcast, if you'd like to communicate better with your audience, with your teams, with your company culture, we got the top professional right here in the world, right here from Montreal. Is that right, brother? Or Toronto?
No, Montreal, you got it.
Montreal, that's what I thought. So, Brother Beau, take the stage.
Yeah, I am having communication problems. So this is a perfect episode. Okay. I go back and watch a lot of podcast episodes, and I'm now a regular on a new show where I'm a guest, and it's really good. They got a big viewership on YouTube. And I go back sometimes and I'm cringing because I'm saying filler words. Like I say, all the time, but, and I got to stop saying these filler words. So we've got to dive in and a lot of people seem to have these similar issues when they're talking.
Yeah.
And I got to learn how to just pause my thoughts, I think. And
the ums and the ahs and all those and the lags. I know what you're saying, brother.
And our guest has some amazing tools to work through these communication. I would say it's not problems, but we always want to be better. Like I went to the gym today because I want to be better. I want to run faster, lift heavier weights, be in better shape. So today's show is really geared on communication, which is, I think, if
Very
not the most
important.
important thing. It's
Oh,
probably the most important thing out
most
there.
important thing, we get paid for saying things. We get paid for inflexing our voice up and down. We get paid for using our hand gestures. And what we're going to talk about today is communication. Brother Brenden, take it away. Tell us
For sure.
about your background and how you got into it and how you become a master. And you are number one on the YouTube, guys. Search Brenden right there from the Master Talk. Yes, go ahead.
For sure. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me, Vinney Beau. It's always good to see you guys, and always good. I didn't even know you two had a show together, so this is news to me. So it's great that it's great to be a part of your platform today. So yeah, in terms of how I got started, it all began in business school. So I wanted to be an accountant. Funny enough, Vinney and Beau, I wasn't really looking to be an entrepreneur. It was never really in my DNA. I never thought I was going to be one. And while I was studying accounting, I start competing in case competitions. Think of it like professional sports, but for nerds. So while other guys my age are playing rugby or cricket or football or basketball or some other sport you probably wouldn't see me playing, I did presentations competitively. And that's how I learned how to speak. But then as I got older, Vinny, I started coaching a bunch of students on how to communicate because I wanted them to win competitions. And I accidentally developed a talent in coaching other people how to speak. And that's what led to the YouTube channel MasterTalk because I thought, oh, no one's really sharing this information for free. And then a few years later, here we are today.
Wow, wow, wow. So take us through, like I know you have many, many clients now, and I know I was so impressed. I want to say that right publicly. You gave me 1 hour of your coaching. You just added value to me when, you were on my podcast, and that really impressed me. You were like there to make relationships. So tell me, you are really at that young age looking into adding value to so many people because it's going to come back in many folds. And that's how brother Beau has done in his business, in the loans, and now he's into franchising, into buying businesses. I mean, all this and syndication, and in my field. So take it away. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, Vinny. I appreciate you saying that. I think for me, even if I'm relatively young, the game is really I listen to a lot of mentors who are much wiser than me, like you two, right? Who are much smarter than me, who have a lot more experience. And when you live life with that humility, you learn the lessons a lot faster. So you go through the cycles a lot faster. Another thing that you two might probably don't know is my business partners are 20 years older than I am. So
Oh,
my business partners are in their 40s. They're married. They have kids. We all have completely different lifestyles. We don't even live in the same country, but it's through their wisdom that I'm able to quickly learn the lessons. And then in terms of relationship building, I think what I've always felt. Adam Grant has a great book on this. It's called Give and Take, and he argues that there's three types of people in the world: givers, matchers, and takers. So givers are people who give more than they take. Matchers, which how most of the world operates, is if you give to me, Vinny, I'll give back to you. And
mhm.
takers are people who we don't want in our life. They're sharks, right? So they take more than what they receive. And he actually did an empirical study, and it turns out that self-respecting givers are actually the most likely to be successful. So self-respecting is a key word. If you're just a giver and you get stepped on all the time and you don't really get anything in return, that's not the good place. But you got to be a giver to help everybody. But then the people who start to reciprocate, those people you go much deeper in the same way that I spent that extra 60 minutes just to help you out, Vinny, because you're such a good person, right?
Oh my gosh,
So yeah.
no. All right. So give our audience, and by the way, everybody, this is Vinney and Beau Show. We come live to you 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern. Please put a reminder on your cell phone, on your Android, on your iPhone. Repeat it every Wednesday, every Friday, 9 a.m. Then I do Abundance Mindset with Vinney and Walter on Thursday at 9 a.m. So every day, every week, you could have doses. And we also make reels out of this and also podcasts. So even if you kind of miss this show, you could still catch us there.
What
Brother Beau.
about I liked when I interviewed you when we did like the name game. Let's do that. Let's see how Vinny does with the name game.
For sure. For sure. Let's do it, Bo.
Oh
So
my
just for
gosh.
for
Oh my gosh.
context, For context, everyone, what Beau's referring to in the name, Dave, it's called basically it's the random word exercise. You take a word like phone or giraffe or pen, like something completely random, and you create a 60-second presentation out of that word. And this serves two main purposes. One, it helps you deal with uncertainty because as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we're always dealing with uncertainty in our life. So it helps us think quickly on our feet. And the second purpose that people can write down if they want is if you can make sense out of nonsense, you can make sense out of anything. So if you can talk about avocado toast, you can talk about anything. So to Beau's point, let's have Vinney do the exercise. So your
Holy
word,
cow. Okay.
Vinney, is running. Go for it.
Hold
Running
on,
is
let me put the
amazing.
timer on. Hold on a second.
Okay, timer on. Okay, this timer, I've got a big timer over here. Vinny's matching with his. By the way, we'll do something else too. In this show, we should talk about, which I say that quite a lot. This is the future time. This is the present, Brenden, and Beau, he knows that. And then this is the past. So I say to everybody in my podcast and others, let's not worry about the future. Future will take care of itself if the present is right. We need to live in the present. And then when it passes through the past, guess what? Nobody can change the past. Nobody in their power can change the past. Just learn from it and move forward. Anyway,
All
Vinny's
right.
always trying to do
I'm
things.
going to say go. And what's your word again, Vinny?
Oh,
The word?
running.
Okay. Go.
Okay, running is the best exercise one can ever do. You could do running actually just standing right there in front of television, and you can actually just be watching your another show and also running at the same time. I like to run fast and slow so that my heartbeat goes up and down. And then I love my iWatch. When I start to run, I go ahead and put that, click on it, and then I can really see how many miles I ran in how many minutes, what's my BP, blood pressure, and my, pulse rate and everything like that. And the good part is I like to run every day, brisk walking I do a little bit, and then I run also to the park, which is about 1.5 miles away from where I live in Black Hawk, California. And the good part is then I take a breather there, just bask in the sun. And I look at the roses, smell the roses, I call it, because you got to slow down to speed up. Running is speeding, but you got to slow down in life
Time.
to really enjoy. Hey,
Amazing.
I passed.
So Vinny talks all the time. So he's actually pretty good because he's just used to talking, right?
A
He's
gabber.
presented on
Vinny's
stages.
a gabber.
So what's the takeaway? Where do you think he could improve a little bit?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, for sure, Beau. And I should have thought about that as he was speaking. But I think for me, Vinny, what you can work on is low vocal variety. So whenever you communicate, you always stay high, right? Da, 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 versus
Slow
ever
down.
since I was a kid, my parents never took care of their health, and it damaged them. So notice how I go low. So what great speakers do, what exceptional ones do to the both of you, is they take their audiences on a roller coaster of emotion. So they do high tones, mid tones, and low tones. So you want to try and vary your tones throughout your pitch.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Oh my gosh. This is going to help me so much. I'm going to listen back and watch this show again. I'm telling you a couple of more points. I love to take critiques. That's, you can really improve when other people can tell you about your company, about who you are, and things like that. So tell me more. What else?
For sure, Vinny. You're putting me in a hard spot today. Okay, so vocal tones is one of them. I would say the second one is probably pacing. So whenever you're doing the random word exercise, sometimes in most of your pitch, it was very fast.
It
Da, da,
was.
da, 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 fast. So which is not bad. So
Mhm.
sometimes what great speakers do, well, the exceptional ones, is they'll vary their pace. So
Yeah.
let's say I'm speaking really, really quickly. I'll also take the time
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
have you reflect. to have you think about how can your life be better if you pick up a pair of running shoes and start running in a forest or start running in your backyard or start running in a park with your families. So notice how I'm doing both. I'm going quickly, but I'm also going slowly. So the trick is to do both. So you're really good at fast pace, so I'd implement more slow pace
I
in your
appreciate that. You know,
presentation.
something I just picked up from you, brother Brendan. I involved the audience. It was in my talk, it was me, 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 me. You know, I did this and all that. I thought that's what I was going to, but I need to have the perspective who's listening to me and how can I get them involved more? You know,
All
this is
right. All
amazing.
right. Let me go now. I'm
Yeah.
getting itchy here. Okay. Somebody pick a word here.
Vinny, give Beau a word.
Oh my gosh. What word would be Las Vegas?
Go. It was about 4 years ago, and I was about to get married, and I was living in the Bay Area, and my wife lived in another country, or my soon-to-be wife, and I always wanted to live in Las Vegas for forever. It was a place I wanted to stay and raise a family eventually. People think of Las Vegas, they think of drinking and partying, but off the strip, there's a lot of outdoor recreational areas. There's a lot of fun, and it's a place for me because it's the foodie capital of the world. And I love the fact that I can go to Las Vegas, or Henderson is the next city over, and I can find all different types of food. I can go to Chinatown and I can try delicious Mandarin Chinese food, or I can find Vietnamese food, or I can find Thai food. I can go to another. Oh man, that's too quick.
Ooh. I
You
mean,
know
you could
what? You did
in
amazing, brother, but you got the leg up because brother Brendan slowed me down. You really, you do talk slowly. I know for sure, but I need to slow down. I need to slow down. You know, then I don't have to speak so many words. So I'm going to learn on that. No, you did really good, Brendan. What would he change? Yeah. Holy.
for sure you should. So the first thing I just want to clarify for everybody. So
Yeah.
60 seconds is just a number I give to keep it simple for people. But the truth is the way I actually coach it is there's no time limit. Like I'll let you finish because that's the point, right? It's more to test your ability to communicate ideas without any preparation versus can you do it within the time limit. So when you're actually practicing this at home, you could take 2 minutes if you want to. There's no real problem there. So I just want to point that out. In terms of feedback though, Bo, it's funny. I'd give you the opposite feedback that I gave Vinny, which is more. So the first one is your face is really stiff on the upper side. So what do I mean by this? Whenever we're mastering facial expression, there's three things you have to keep in mind. So the first one is your smile, which you got right, Bo, where there's a big difference between this
Yeah.
and this.
Mhm.
Massive difference, and you got that right. But it's the other two that I would work on. So what a lot of speakers do, especially if they're a little more introverted, is their face, their top side of their. So let's say I'm communicating an idea, my eyebrows stay in the same place and my eyes stay in the same place. Versus something happened, something really powerful happened. So notice I'm dilating my pupils
Mhm,
and my
mhm.
eyebrows are moving, whereas your eyebrows kind of stayed stiff the entire time. So you look bored at the top half of your face. So that's what I would work on. And then the other piece is really high vocal variety. You don't need to yell, but just a little higher. Just a little higher in the variance sometimes, not the entire time. Like I give an example when you talk about how your wife wanted to move to Las Vegas. You know, my wife always wanted to move for Las Vegas, and I never understood why. Instead of going, my wife wanted to move to Las Vegas, and I know all of you are thinking it's about drinking and partying, versus going, I know a lot of you are thinking it's about drinking and partying, but it's not. So I'm varying my tone. So just a little bit higher on some of the tones.
This is amazing. You are a top professional, brother. Hold on. I'm telling you. I mean, I thought, you know, and Bo probably thought too, right, Bo? You know, just like I was on a high pitch and everything. You gave me really good pointers. You gave great pointers to Bo also. That's the beauty of it, guys. I mean, everybody listening to us, please, please, please look at our beautiful, wonderful, handsome, guest here, Brandon, Master Talk. Master Talk on YouTube. YouTube, get in his circle because and watch him. Watch him. He gives everything for free. Look that. But also employ him as a coach. I'm telling you, because that's going to change our lives, really. Because we get paid for speaking. I say that all the time. We'll get better and better and better. So give us some more reasons why, Brenden, one should improve their communication skills.
For sure, Vinny. I mean, there's a reason why Warren Buffett says the best investment he's ever made in his life is in a public speaking course, because it allows you to convey ideas more effectively. It doesn't
Mhm.
really matter what your dream is. That's why I call
Mhm.
it the accelerant of dreams, Vinny.
Mhm.
Whether
Mhm.
it's in the way that we convey getting a promotion at work, getting more real estate deals, growing a business, being a better parent, being a better friend.
Mhm.
Communication helps in all of those areas, because if you want to be an executive in a company or a senior level executive, it's almost everybody. There's some exceptions, but most of them are exceptional speakers
Yeah.
because they're managing bigger teams, 200, 300, 500 people. So at that level, you can't possibly have one-on-ones with everybody. So you need to know how to have strong communication so you can address all of them at the same time. Same thing if you're the CEO of like a 10,000 person company. The second piece is if you're starting your own business. If you're the CEO, your whole life is enrollment. You have
Yeah.
to enroll employees to work for you. You have to enroll investors to write you checks. You have to enroll customers into buying from you. You have to enroll podcast hosts to have you on their show so you can have
Yeah.
media appearances. So your whole life is enrollment. So
Yeah.
if you're a much better communicator, your ability to persuade people to say yes will increase dramatically. That's the second use case. And then the third one, to make this a little bit more personal, if you want to be a better parent, you want to be a better friend to the people in your life, if you're a better speaker, and I don't mean on a stage, I just mean communication, you listen effectively, you'll have a lot less problems in your personal life. So you can focus more on just being happy with the people that you love.
Oh, love it. Love it.
It's so important. I literally am on Zoom talking to potential clients that need millions of dollars in financing. And so I need to convey, um, see, I said, I need to convey the message of authority to people, right? When I'm talking to them, also build
Mhm.
rapport. And also, can we dive into people that you're communicating with? Could they have different, some of them are soft spoken, some of them are analytical. So you also, part of this whole communication isn't just my verbal communication, it's also being able to mirror and to understand how the other person wants to be communicated to. How do we do that?
Hmm.
For sure, Bo. So let's start with the overarching theme and let's go into the details of your awesome question. So the first piece is communication is like juggling 18 balls at the same time. So one of them is smiling, one of them is vocal tone variety, one of them is pacing, one is storytelling, one is in body language, and it gets really confusing really fast. So the strategy for everybody listening and for us to master it, getting rid of ums and ahs is another one of those balls, is to do one ball at a time, one ball at a time. So I'll give you three examples. So all of you heard the random word exercise. Okay, Beau did it, Vinney did it, but the advice for you listening is, are you willing to do it 100 times?
Yeah.
That's the game. Not do it well, not do it like Brenden or do it like Beau or do it like Vinney. Are you willing to do it 100 times? Because most people in your industry will not do that. So that's one ball. And then another ball is, okay, so Vinney got a couple of feedback points around pacing and vocals, but how you'll implement Vinney is you'll only pick one of the two to focus on. So you'll say,
Mhm.
okay, let me just focus on low vocal tones and get that right. And then when you get that right, you move on to the next thing. Same thing with you, Beau, right? With the facial expressions and the vocals, you'll just pick the one that feels easiest to you. If you want to work on your face first, then you'll work on the facial expressions first. And if you want to work on the high vocal tones first, you'll work on the highs, but you pick one. So the same thing applies with mirroring. So mirroring is when you get to ball 15 or 16 and you can do a lot of these things at the same time. So I'll give you an easy example here. Let's say there's three types of podcasts I'll go on. The first one is the really high energy Vinny Chopra, right? It's like, oh my God, I'm so excited to have you. This is so great. So which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. So
Yeah.
I'm matching the energy of that person.
Yeah.
Then you have the more ambiverted person in the middle, and then you have somebody more on the introverted side. Not really Beau, but even more introverted. Like we're talking like Paula. So Paula's like this when she's speaking. So if I go to that podcast and I go, "What's up, Paula?" I'm going to scare her to death. So
Yeah.
it's important to change the energy when you're speaking to clients or people around you.
Good point. That's so good what you just covered, brother. I mean, I've read and I've been trying to do mirroring with the clients, right? Because some of the high drivers, I mean, you have to be also driving with them, and and they are short and this and that. But then there are melancholies, and there are this, more other people. All those, I should go back and look at all the personalities, to be truthful, to get better what I want to do in my life at this young age of 70. I'll be 71 in August. I'm so proud of that. But the thing is, I think the key thing is I need to go back to understand, because if we are not growing and going back to basics in life all the time, we are deviating from there, and that's bringing us inefficiency. And brother Beau and I talked about 10x is easier than 2x book this last couple of weeks, and it's just changing my whole thinking. Brother Beau, you want to talk about that? I know 10x is better than 2x is amazing book. We would tell everybody to get a copy, audio copy, really.
Yeah,
We
I
don't
mean,
get
first,
paid anything, but yeah.
I was just asked what my top 5 books were recently, and I said, "Who Not How," Gain the Gap,
Hmm.
and 10x is easier than 2x,
Yeah.
and those are all written by the same authors. And then I
Yeah,
also
Dan
said,
Sullivan. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I said David Goggins, "Can't Hurt Me," is another book just from a mental toughness standpoint.
Hmm.
And then the other book that I am recently listening to on Audible is Dan Martell's book, "Buy Back Your Time."
Buy back your
Those
time.
all kind of correlate in a good way. So I do think, but I also want to point out a very interesting thing. When we think about communication, we don't. It opens my eyes that there's 18 balls to juggle. Like I would just think, oh, it's talking, right? But no, there's so many factors. And if you want to get good at something, you have to understand and study and practice. And like I
Hmm.
would have never thought about communication like until I did an interview with you, right? Like I was like, okay, like if I want to become a good communicator, it means like just like me going to the gym and being able to bench press 400 pounds, I
Yeah.
have to work at it and build and do my reps. And I never thought about that I needed to actually practice communication. I just said, oh well, I'm not the best speaker, and I say and but what if I actually practiced? What if I actually practiced and then I could go on bigger and bigger stages? Instead of going on this 50,000 subscriber YouTube channel, I start going on, a 3.5 million subscriber YouTube show
Hmm.
and a
Hmm.
30 million. And now I'm getting on these bigger stages, whether virtual or actual physical stages. And that's really exciting to me. And by conveying a message in a way that people resonate with is going to build better brand awareness. So at the end of the day, going back to the start of this episode,
Hmm.
communication is the number one thing we should be practicing in my mind right now.
So true, brother. Yes, yes. So, Brendan, give us some more points, brother. We got you here for a little bit, maybe 10 more minutes. Give us the best of the best.
For sure, Vinny. And it's really a build on what Beau said, right? Is including me, by the way. There's a reason why I guest on so many podcasts. I do all of this. It's nothing to do with business. Most of my business
Yes,
comes from word of mouth.
yes,
It's for me to get better. Because I'm not on Joe Rogan yet. I'm not on Lewis's podcast yet. I'm not on Jay Shetty's podcast yet. So
yes.
I need to keep pushing the game. I need to keep investing in coaching. And that's really the game that I think a lot of successful people miss, which is a lot of your guys' audience, because both of you are successful people, which is how would your life change if you're an exceptional communicator? You know,
Ah,
the missing piece in any successful person, and I think this is and the thought leadership I brought was more the communication end, is vision. I see so many successful people, they get their first company exit for whatever, X multiple, $100 million. They get the sale that they wanted, they get the watch that they wanted, but then they get stuck in life because they don't know what to do next because they haven't thought about their vision. But I think that problem is even more accentuated in the context of communication, where there's nobody I've met in my life except maybe like the best in the world, like Tony Robbins or something, who have a very clear communication vision for their
sure.
life. So for the person they want to be, do I have the communication skills to be the person who guests on the 3.5 million sub count? And for me, the answer currently, even if I coach so many cool people, is still no. Right. So I'm still pushing myself. How can I be the person that all of the top 100 podcasts in the world are begging me to have me on the
I
show? And if I'm
love it.
not there yet, then I need to keep going too. I need to keep learning. I need to keep growing. And I'm learning from both of you too. Right. So it's
No,
always that
Brenden.
mindset.
This is interesting. Oh, I got to just cut in here. So
Please.
yesterday, so I'm in. I joined Evan Carmichael, who's a big YouTube guy,
Of course.
and he's awesome. So I joined his group because I want to
Mhm.
be better in YouTube. And he had a guest coach on yesterday for our group, and the guest coach was doing a coaching for Evan, and he said,
I see.
and Evan said, I want to go from 3.6 million subscribers to 35 million subscribers. And the coach basically said, you need to act who you basically need to act like you are, that you have 35 million subscribers.
Ah,
That's how you do it, right? So if I want to be somebody that has $1 billion portfolio of real estate, I have to be that person today. And that's
get
how
your
you become that person.
subconscious to really program, even though you're not there, but you got to tell your subconscious, hey, I'm right there. I'm in the process of becoming that person.
And
So that it starts believing it, I guess. Huh? Yeah.
and also if you go in, if I go in on an interview and I'm on a show that has 1 million viewers, I'm going to be so nervous. But if you say, well, this is who I am, I present to millions of people, and I'm going to go in there and nothing's changed. I'm just doing the Vinney and Beau show. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So there's so much to this, I think. And I think it was cool that you were saying that, your vision sounds like getting on the Joe Rogans, the Lewis Howes of the world, right? That elevates your stage. And I
Mhm.
encourage everybody to elevate their stage. That's what we should be doing on a daily basis. So does that mean that Beau, as Vinney always talks in third party person, Beau needs to be practicing? If you want to be on bigger stages, you got to get more comfortable speaking and communicating. And your message has to resonate with people. If you want to sell more coaching programs for your multifamily syndication, the communication that you're sending to your people, your avatars, needs to
Yes.
resonate with them, and the messaging. And it all stems from communication. If I want to negotiate a deal, it's how I'm positioning myself in the communication. So
It's
it's
the
all,
content. It's the content which will get other party interested, and they will get interested with how well we deliver. Right? Communication is the delivery of that whatever ideas I have or whatever content. If I have prepared a great presentation, right, Brenden, so to get it across to the other person and receive it, so that they can receive that in a way I want them to receive and act on it or make a decision. So that's where we are talking about today. So, Brenden, we are towards the end of the show. Give us the last maybe 3 4 minutes of how can people get better? How can they reach you, brother? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, Vinny. I think the last thing to end on is just the question, right? Which is, how would your life change if you're an exceptional communicator? The reason I always ask this question is so many of us are focused on the stress and the fear and the nerves around communication and public speaking. And it's that energy that creates bad results. Because every time we're in school, every time we're at work, every time we're on a podcast, we're always going, oh my God, I'm so scared. Life sucks. So that's the energy we bring to communication practice and why we don't get better. Whereas for me, when you ask yourself, how would your life change if you're a great communicator? You start to do something, guys, that most people never do in their life, which is to dream about their communication skills. We
Yeah.
dream about the watches we want to buy, the cars we want to get, the houses we want to buy, the yacht trips that we want to go on, the health, the relationships. When was the last time we dreamed about a life in which we don't say filler words,
Oh my.
which our pacing is perfect, which our vocal tones are amazing, which we're speaking on a stage in front of 50,000 people? I call this describing iconic moments where and you can do this in any area of your life, where you take a step back and you just journal, like, what's one moment I want to live in my life? that really makes me really excited. And I encourage all of you to have at least one for your communication skills, because if you do, that moment will remind you to keep pushing in the same way I pushed like crazy to be on as many shows as possible. So that hopefully in 10 years I have the world record for the most podcast appearances.
I love that. I love that. And good luck to you and all the best. And, we're going to be even, bringing you on into our masterminds and others. And I would like to encourage everybody watching us, please reach brother Brenden, Master Talk in YouTube. He's got the number one, right? You told me you're number one in the pod match.
Match, yeah.
Yeah, say that again on that service too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have the number one YouTube channel on public speaking yet, but I'm the youngest in the space, so hopefully that will
There you
that will
go.
happen in a few years. But yeah, we're the number one, but that's measured by number of reviews we have on the platform. So I've done probably 250 interviews on Podbatch, so we're the current leader on the platform. Yeah.
Uh, just so proud to have you. Just so proud to have you, brother Brenden, and thank you for your time from the bottom of our hearts. And I'm sure Beau, thank you, bro, because you knew Brenden before me, brother. And then now, brother is in our circle. And everybody watching us, if you like this show, please share and, invite other people to join us every Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 lunchtime actually. So everybody on the East Coast should definitely, and West Coast too, it's good to, on a Friday, we feel like we should have this show on Friday because everybody wants to look at how their week went and how they can change their business for next Monday. And that's what this show is about. We talk about real estate, we talk about franchising, buying businesses, loans, all kind of things, how to take your business to the next level. And then Abundance Mindset with Walter and I on Thursdays, 9 a.m. While I walk, I do that show. Please catch on that also. And we talk about abundance mindset, different principles of businesses, and it's a different show. So we make podcasts also, just like we are saying. So, please look at, subscribe, like, and have fun.
Awesome. I think this show just reminded me the importance of always be practicing, always be,
Yes.
think about the things that really move the needle. And sometimes like we overlook things like, oh, I need to be a good communicator. Well, how do you actually do I have to go to Toastmaster, which I don't like Toastmaster personally. Sorry,
No,
Toastmaster. I just
did Toastmaster for 3 years, brother. That's how I got better, in
I know.
Danville.
I don't know. I just feel like it just doesn't resonate with me when I try to go to a
Okay.
Toastmaster. I think like doing like what we're doing here, I could see it's more aligned. It feels more natural than Toastmasters. I don't know, but I think it all helps. Anything you do to improve is what we should be doing. And so it's good,
And-
Vinney, at the ripe age of 70 years old, that you still practice the art. You're open-minded to get better,
Yes.
right? Because so many people shut down and they go, "Oh, I'm retired. I don't need to do anything." Right? Like it's what keeps you young, keeps you energized. It's like, okay, like I can get better in so many little realms of my life, like communication, analyzing deals, communicating with people, facial expressions, all these things that I never think about that would make a big difference in all of this. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brenden. We're going to bring you
Awesome.
back again, brother. I hope you don't mind. We're going to make this whole world a better place by really communicating and really helping everybody, because that's the key to success in any business, in our relationships and everything. So we're going to do it and we'll bring you back again. Thanks so much today. God bless you all.
Happy to be on your show finally.
I'm a long-time fan and I watch all your guys' content.
Awesome. We're very, very, very invested in our community.
It's wonderful to be here.
This is Vinney Chopra and also my good buddy Beau Eckstein.